Hey everyone, welcome to another Gamecast from GameReplays.org. Before I jump into the action, I'm just going to introduce myself quickly. I am Lone Soldier of the Arcani clan and just recently made a Gamecaster for this new release of Empire Total War. I hope you enjoy. Let's jump right into the action here. This game was 1 versus 1, I was Poland, enemy army was Austria. I brought 6 riflemen, 2 units of line infantry, the line infantry you see up at the top there, 3 units of guards that are now at the top of the screen over there, about halfway down the line, 2 units of winged hussars flanking the guards on both sides, and that was my army. Now, before I give you a bit of insight into why exactly I picked the units that I did for some of those guys that may not be too familiar with Total War, so are having a bit of a tough time putting together armies. As many of the guys who have been playing Total War for a while know, your army build is critical to the game itself. Many times the game is won and lost before the battle has even started. Now the camera's going to pan over to Austria, and here we will see what the Austrians had. They had 2 units of Uhlans, which are light lancer cavalry in the dark horses there, 1 or 2 units of heavy cav as general in the distance there, and 3 units of line are visible here. I believe there was another unit or 2 in the woods, but we'll see that later. 3 units of Jaegers emerging from the woods. Now, Jaegers have an equivalent range to riflemen, both being 125. 125 units with a range of 125 have the furthest range in the game, and that was a large part of the reason why I brought 6 of them. This army build I had here was, in concept, filled with long-range units that he wouldn't be able to counter, with a heart of guards to provide the final fatal blow after the skirmishers did what they do best. Now, as the game's starting up here, he had 3 units of Jaegers in the woods. I left 3 units of riflemen over on that flank, just out of range of the woods, to deal with them, to keep my guards nice and healthy. I kept them out of range of the woods because I did not want to get into a firefight where I would be shooting into woods and he would be shooting out of woods, because units do receive a defensive bonus from inside woods. That's my understanding of it. Now, because he's committed his 3 Jaegers to the far side, my 3 riflemen can operate with impunity on this far left side here. He has 3 units of line, and he is taking a bit of a pounding at a distance. A few volleys from riflemen units from a distance will really quickly start to thin their numbers. Now, the 3 Jaegers on the far side are pretty much negated at this point. They're not firing, and there's nothing they can really do. On this side here, my riflemen are doing a hell of a job thinning out those line infantry. Now he's going to bring out his cavalry in an attempt to do something about these riflemen. And cavalry is a really good way to deal with these long-range skirmishers. The only downside is properly microed and supported wing will be very tough to deal with just cavalry, so he tries to bring up his infantry to help out, as I do have 2 units of line infantry nearby. Now, what I'm doing here is staying out of the range of his line infantry while continuing to thin his numbers. Now, the reason this has worked so well in this game is because he's committing his time to microing other units as well. So all the time that he spent microing something other than his line infantry, like this Uhlan charge that he's trying to put together here, he's continually losing line infantry. So any and all effort that is not saving his line infantry works in my advantage. Now, on his end, he's getting pretty frustrated. He's taking volleys and he's not really dishing too many out. What he ended up deciding to do was to bring out his unit of Uhlans and try to use them in an offensive manner. Now, I'm in the process of throwing up stakes on that unit of riflemen. I believe he sees that, so he shifts away from there. I've retreated that unit of riflemen. And now he's going to use his charge bonus into the infantry, except for the fact that he just ate a volley at point blank range. That unit of Uhlans landed the charge, but with very few men left in that unit, they're going to break very shortly. While this is going on, he's continuing to lose numbers in his infantry. That unit on that far side of that Austrian line is a unit of Grenzers. They're a very high quality skirmisher unit. Their range is still much less than that of the riflemen, but I was putting in a bit of micro on that far side, and to have a single unit of riflemen under fire by Grenzers, I decided that would be acceptable losses. Now, he's finally pressing the advantage on this far side with his Jaegers. He's not in loose formation, and that's the formation you can take into by going into hitting that button for skirmisher behavior in the far bottom right hand corner of your screen when you have a rifleman or a rifleman type unit selected. Now, here's a bit of pathfinding errors as I tried to pull back, but the units converged on one spot, so I needed to give them individual march orders backwards, and I ended up taking an unnecessary volley and lost a few men in one of my guards unit. I believe it dropped it down by 40 men or so. He's pressing up with some supporting line infantry with his Jaegers, who are still in tight formation. Now, that's really not an acceptable way to use Jaegers. If you're going to be skirmishing against units with equal range, and the other units are in loose formation, you really need to put yours in loose formation as well, or you're going to lose that tool. And ongoing on this side here, we have skirmishers continuing to take pot shots at the line infantry. That unit of riflemen that came under fire from the Grenzers it's about to take flight. But nonetheless, I am winning the battle at this stage with the logic that what I've killed has cost more than what I've lost. If you can carry a battle on in that manner, you will do much better, much more often than if you were to carry out any other type of strategy. It's all a matter of what you lose versus what you're taking. Now on this far side, I've got 2 units of riflemen in loose formation squaring up against 3 units of Jaegers in tight formation, while I set up my 3rd unit of riflemen up against the Grenzers there. Now, as this battle's progressing, I am happy to continue in the skirmish because my riflemen, once the game gets tight and everyone closes in, they'll still be very nice to have. But really, if he's lost a considerable number of line infantry, and I haven't, running right into point blank range is going to work out in my favor. This flank on this far side has taken enough of a pounding to have me move my line infantry in for some nice point blank volleys. Now, because I moved in when he was at an angle, I was able to get off the first volley, as you see there, and that first volley is very important because you have all of your men firing, and that is very important indeed. Now, here you see my winged hussars landing a charge on those Grenzers. That proved a little bit troublesome.